So now we're going to multiply and divide rational expressions. Really, this is just another way of saying simplify. That means factor and then cross out any factors that are the same. So in this multiplication, this is really just all together. So I'm going to factor everything. So 6 is 2 times 3 times c times 3 times 5, that's the 15, times c times d squared, which is just dd. And then if I do the denominator, I have a 5 times d times 2 times 2 times 2 times a. All I did was factor each of those numbers by doing a factor tree is one way of doing it. So for example, if I have my 8, I can go 2 times 4, and then the 4 factors to 2 and 2, and that's where the 3 2's come from. So that's just a factor tree. And then anything that's the same on top and bottom cancel out. So I have this 2 and this 2. I have this 5 and this 5. I have a D and a D. I don't have any other 2's on the top, and I have no other A's. So what I'm left with, if I put it all together, 3 times 3 is 9. C times C is C squared. And the denominator is 2 times 2, which is 4A. And so multiplying is just simplifying. And simplifying is just simply factoring and then crossing out what's alike, top and bottom. So if we look at our next problem, division, the only difference is that this problem has to do what's called the keep, the change, and the flip. So we're going to keep this first part. So I'm going to go ahead and factor this first part. So 18 is 2 times 3 times 3, x, y, over 7, a, b, b. But I'm going to change this to a multiplication, which is really the same thing as simplifying, and I'm going to flip this. So the 35 goes on top. So 35 is 5 times 7, a, b. So there's my top. And the 12 becomes 2 times 2 times 3, x, y. So all I did was flip this. That's how I get 5 and 7. And then I still factored. So now I just go through the process of canceling out what's the same on top and bottom. So I have a 2 and a 2, a 3 and a 3, a 7. I have an A, B, B. I have this Y. I have an X. And I look what's left over. On the bottom, I have a B. There's no other B's. On top, I have a 2. There's no other 2's. And an X. There's nothing else. So I end up with multiplying. I have y squared times 5. So 5y squared on the top. On the bottom, I have a B and a 2 and an X. So 2bx. And there's my answer simplified. The only thing different was I had to keep, change, flip before I can simplify. So simplifying a polynomial, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to factor. So factoring this numerator right here is what two numbers multiply to give me a negative 16 and add up to a negative 6. Well, 8 and 2 do that, so this becomes x minus 8 and x plus 2. X minus 8 is already factored, so there's our numerator, and then our denominator. Remember, multiplication is just simply an extension of fractions. So my denominator, I'm going to factor the bottom, and that's going to be x minus 8, and this is be x plus 3 and x plus 2. So once it's all factored, we're going to look for the same on top and bottom and cross out. So x minus 8 cancels with one of the x minus 8s, not both of them, just one. But this other x minus 8 over here will cancel with this one. And the x plus 2 and the x plus 2 cancel. Now, if everything cancels on top, you're actually left with the 1. So I do have a 1. And then what's left over on the bottom is the x plus 3. And so there is my simplified answer. So simplifying an expression is simply factoring and canceling out. And if everything cancels, we have a 1.